Shivaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada, we are studying from the Prabhupada, the Messenger of the Supreme Lord, that book. And chapter, after introduction, we have reached up to chapter 1. We read up to page number 6. Start from there. So this chapter's name is Struggling Alone. Actually, Prabhupada, when he went to America, he was practically struggling alone only. Uh, what starting from his journey till the time he met a couple of devotees there, couple of people, young devotees, young men actually that time. So till that time, Prabhupada had this struggle. And last time we discussed till this part that Prabhupada visits Prabhupada reaches America and he goes to this place where he meets Sally Agarwal. Sally Agarwal, who would say that how Prabhupada was so fascinating and such a unique personality Prabhupada was. So let's see what Sally Agarwal says about Prabhupada. Recently, Sally Agarwal also, I heard that she left body, but she is one of those persons who have personally served Srila Prabhupada. So they are also fortunate. Once His Holiness Bhaktichar Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, I wish I would have been there with you those days when you were so alone in America. Then, because Prabhupada there was no one who could care for Prabhupada, who could serve Prabhupada. So that time, Prabhupada replied that actually I was never alone. I was always with my Guru Maharaj's instructions. Guru Maharaj was always with me. So Sally says, it was quite an intellectual group that we were in, and they were fascinated by him. They hardly knew what to ask him. They did not know enough. This was just like a dream out of a book. Who would expect to meet a Swami in someone's living room in Butler, Pennsylvania? It was just really tremendous. In the middle of middle class America. My parents came from quite a distance to see him. We knew a lot of people in Pittsburgh and they came up. This was a very unusual thing, having him here. But the real interest shown in him was only as a curiosity. So everybody was strange because in India, Swamis are quite common. But to see a devotee in saffron robes and that too is true follower of Vaishnava cult is very rare in America. So that's what Sally is saying. And then Sally is describing about Srila Prabhupada. He had a typewriter, which was one of his few possessions, and an umbrella. That was one of the things that caused a sensation, that he always carried an umbrella. And it was a little chilly and he was balding. So he always wore his hat that someone had made for him, like a swimming cap. Because it's so cold in America, so Prabhupada would always wear his cap. It was a kind of sensation. And he was so brilliant that when he saw someone twice, he knew who they were. He remembered. He was a brilliant man. Prabhupada is expert that whenever he would meet somebody, second time when he would meet, he would remember them. Or if he met them in our apartment and saw them in a car, he would remember their name and he would wave and say their name. He was a brilliant man. All the people liked him. They were amazed at how intelligent he was. The thing that got them was the way he remembered their name and his humorous way. He looked so serious all the time, but he was a very humorous person. He was forbidding in his looks, but he was very charming. So Prabhupada could remember the names and he would only wave first. That, hey Ram, where are you? Where are you going? Like that means Prabhupada would do that. He was the easiest guest I have had in my life because when I could not spend time with him, he chanted. And I knew he was perfectly happy. When I could not talk to him, he chanted. He was so easy, though, because I knew he was never bored. I never felt any pressure or tension about having him. He was so easy that when I had to take care of the children, he would just chant. It was so great. When I had to do things, he would just be happy chanting. He was a very good guest. When the people would come, they were always smoking cigarettes, but he would say, pay no attention, think nothing of it. Hmm. That's what he said, think nothing of it, because he knew we were different. I did not smoke in front of him. I knew I wasn't supposed to smoke in front of him. So Sally is saying that it was such a glorious thing to have Swami with us in our house. She's saying that it is the easiest thing I have ever had in my life because Prabhupada would adjust with anybody. We'll just hear Sally's interview. After we read this, we hear Gopal's father, so I sort of considered him the same. He did not make any problems for anybody. Ms. Prabhupada would adjust with everybody. On September 22, a feature article appeared in the Butler Eagle. In fluent English, devotee of Hindu cult explains commission to visit the West. The photographer had come to the Agarwal's apartment and had taken a picture of Bhaktivedanta Swami standing in the living room. Holding an open volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, the caption read, Ambassador of Bhakti Yoga. So this article came up in their Butler newspaper. Slight brown in faded orange drapes and wearing white bathing suits stepped out of a compact car yesterday into the Butler YMCA to attend a meeting. He is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamiji, a messenger from India to the peoples of the West. The article referred to the Srimad Bhagavatam as biblical literature and to Bhaktivedanta Swami as a learned teacher. Okay, let's hear what Sally says.
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The movement he Agarwal and his wife Sally
The Swami was a friend of my husband's father, Mr. Agarwal, in Agra, India. And he asked me to sponsor the Swami, and that's what I did. And that's why he came to our house in the middle of the night one night. He stayed with us for a month in Butler. And I learned, over the time, I learned to love him as I would a father-in-law. He was a very sensitive and kindly type of person. He was indeed one of the most unusual men I've ever known in my life. The Swami came with so few possessions. He came with the clothes he had on his back. He had a typewriter, and he had his books. And he had a bag of cereal. Imagine coming to a country on the other side of the world with so little, and yet he came with so much in himself. The Swami brought a pan with him in which he cooked his food, and in fact cooked our lunch too. Our little boy was only 6 months old when he came, and the Swami was there when Bridge first stood, and he laughed and laughed to see him stand up. When he laughed, he was just oceanic. He just seemed to take in the entire universe when he laughed, and he laughed a lot. I enjoyed my association for that 1 month with him about as much as I've enjoyed anything in my life.
Although comfortable in Butler, Bhaktivedanta Swami thought the most important philosophy in the world, Krishna consciousness, should be.
So then Prabhupada decided to go to the west, go out of Butler. That's what he's saying. It's also been shown in Abhay Charan in a very nice way. We'll see if we can see that. So the article says like this: my mission is to revive a people's God consciousness, says the Swamiji. God is the father of all living beings. In thousands of different forms, he explains, human life is a stage for perfection in evolution. If we miss the message, back we go through the process again. He believes Bhaktivedanta lives as a monk and permits no woman to touch his food. On a 6-week ocean voyage now at the Agrawal apartment in Butler, he prepares his meals in a brass pan. We saw that.
प्रभुजी problem होची ना कोन मोर ना समस्तंकर
आज्ञा
हेलो
हाँ कुहतु मो कथा सुबुची ना ओके
प्रभुजी जल्दी करो
हाँ
प्रभुजी क्लियर अच्छे प्रभुजी
हाँ तो से brass pan टा हमें देखिले that brass pan in which Prabhupada used to cook, and Prabhupada would cook sometimes meals for them also, Sally and Gopal and their son Bridge. So yeah, with separate levels of steaming rice, vegetables and making bread at same time. He is a very strict vegetarian and is permitted to drink only milk, the miracle food for babies and old men, he noted. If Americans would give more attention to their spiritual life, they would be much happier, he says. Sally says, when he cooked, he used only one burner. The bottom level pot created the steam. He had dal on the bottom and it created steam to cook many other vegetables. So for about a week, he was cooking this great big lunch, which was ready about 11:30. And Gopal always came home for lunch about 12. I used to serve Gopal a sandwich and then he would go back to work. But it did not take me long to realize that the food the Swami was cooking, we would enjoy it too. So he started cooking that noon meal for all of us. Oh, we all enjoyed it so much. Our fun was to show him that what we knew of America, and he had never seen such things. It was such fun to take him to the supermarket. He loved opening the package of ukra or frozen beans, and he did not have to clean them and cut them and do all those things. He opened the freezer every day and just chose his items. It was fun to watch him. He sat on the couch while I swept with the vacuum cleaner, and he was so interested in that. And we talked for a long time about that. It was so interesting. So Prabhupada was very curious, and he would ask about things which you would see here and there. Even about the buildings and all, Sally would tell. We every day so every day he had have this big feast, and everything was great and fun. We really enjoyed it. I would help him cut the things. He would spice it, and we would laugh. He was the most enjoyable man. I really felt like a sort of daughter to him, even in such a short time, like he was my father-in-law, but I really felt very close to him. He enjoyed everything. I liked him. I thought he was tremendous. Our boy Bridge was just 6 or 7 months old when the Swami came, and the Indians loved boys. The Swami liked Bridge. He was there when Bridge first stood. The first time Bridge made the attempt and actually succeeded, the Swami stood up and clapped. It was a celebration. Another time, our baby teethed on the Swami's shoes. I thought, oh, those shoes, they have been all over India, and my kid is cheating on them. You know how a mother would feel. So once Bridge also chewed Prabhupada's shoes. Almost every night, he used to sit in the next door neighbor's backyard. We sat out there sometimes with him, or we stayed in the living room. One time, something happened with our little girl Pamela, who was only 3 years old. I used to take her to Sunday school, and she learned about Jesus in Sunday school. Then, when she would see Swamiji with his robes on and everything, she called him Swami Jesus. And at one time when it first dawned on us what she was saying, she called him Swami Jesus, and the Swami smiled and said, "And a little child shall lead them." It was so funny. So she could realize that Prabhupada is also a messenger of Lord, like Jesus. Bhaktivedanta Swami spoke to various groups of community, including the Lions Club, and he also gave a talk at Y and at St. Fidelis Seminary College in Hammond, Pennsylvania. And he spoke regularly to the guests and at Agarwal home. He saw that the prospects for preaching to the America were good, but he felt he would need support from India. So then Prabhupada thought of getting some support. At any rate, after spending 1 month in Butler, he now had 1 month left in America because he got 2 months visa. Now 1 month is gone, 1 month is there. So he decided to go to New York City and try to preach there before his time was up. But first he wanted to visit Philadelphia, where he had arranged a meeting with his Sanskrit professor, Dr. Norman Brown. So then he goes to the professor. As a sannyasi, Bhaktivedanta Swami was used to picking up and leaving one place for another. As a mendicant preacher, he had no remorse about leaving behind the quiet life of Butler YMCA, and he had no attachment for the domestic habitat, where he would cook and talk with Sally Agarwal about vacuum cleaners, frozen food, and American whiskey. Prabhupada would actually like this package thing because these are very easy to cook. Suppose you get the corn or peas, you don't need to wash them, they're already packed after washing. So we just need to open the seal and put them in sabji. Prabhupada would like that. And this vacuum cleaner Prabhupada saw, and he was very happy, and all the American ways. But his stay in Butler had been helpful. He had gotten first-hand experience in American life, and he had gained confidence that his health was strong and his message communicable. He was glad to see that America had the necessary ingredients for his Indian vegetarian diet, and that the people could understand his English. He had learned that casual one-time lectures here and there were of limited value. But although Prabhupada could adjust there, but Prabhupada is realizing that his lectures are not creating any impact so much. And that although there would be opposition from the established religion, people individually were very much interested in what he had said. People were interested, but they could not. Prabhupada saw that that is not creating so much effect. So on October 18th, he left Butler by Philadelphia for New York City. Prabhupada goes to Philadelphia. Okay, let's see what has Prabhupada. This part is actually very beautiful. Which is song in English. Right. So the Hindi.
ये जीवन कहानी उस महान व्यक्ति की है जिनकी स्मृति में यह स्मारक निर्माण किया गया है।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे।
Prakash, Nicola, କିଛି ଶୁଭୁନି।
ग्रेहांड सर्विस क्रमांक 124 अभी न्यूयॉर्क पहुंची है, गेट नंबर 27 पर। ग्रेहांड सर्विस क्रमांक 124 अभी न्यूयॉर्क पहुंची है, गेट नंबर 27 पर।
स्वामी जी, मेरी पत्नी सैली और हमारी बेटी पामेला।
आपसे मिलकर बड़ी खुशी हुई।
आपसे भी मिलकर खुशी हुई।
हेलो पैमिला, कैसी हो तुम?
मैं अच्छी हूँ, धन्यवाद। सफर अच्छा रहा?
बहुत अच्छा, आराम से सोता हुआ आया।
आपके लिए YMCA ठीक रहेगा?
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा रहेगा। क्षमा चाहता हूँ, मेरे कारण आप लोगों को कष्ट हुआ।
ऐसी कोई बात नहीं स्वामी जी। हाय हनी, क्या बात है?
मैं अपने ही घर में धूम्रपान नहीं कर सकती?
बेहतर है तुम उनके सामने सिगरेट ना पियो।
क्यों नहीं? ये हिंदुस्तान नहीं है। सिगरेट में कोई बुराई नहीं।
वो हमसे उम्र में बड़े हैं और ऊपर से संत पुरुष। तुम उनके सम्मान के लिए संयम नहीं रख सकती?
ठीक है, मैं उनके सामने नहीं पीऊंगी।
ईश्वर एक अलौकिक व्यक्तित्व है। वो महान है, ना ही कोई उससे बड़ा है और ना ही उसके समकक्ष। ईश्वर न हिंदू है, न क्रिश्चियन और न मुसलमान। सभी धर्म उसी की बात करते हैं। धर्म हमें उसके करीब जाने का मार्ग दिखाता है और बताता है कि हम उसे कैसे चाहें। हम सब के सब उसके अंश हैं। इस कारण से हम उसके बहुत नज़दीक हैं। वो हमें अपने पास बुला रहा है, हमारा इंतज़ार कर रहा है। अगर हम श्रद्धा से उसको याद करेंगे तो निश्चित तौर पर वो हमें अपने पास बुलाने की पूरी व्यवस्था करेंगे। इसलिए हम सबको श्रद्धा से ईश्वर की प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए कि हे कृष्ण, हमारी मदद करो।
स्वामी जी, एक प्रश्न कर सकता हूं? आप ईसा मसीह के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं?
यीशु परम पिता के पुत्र हैं। वो हमारे प्रभु से संबंध की याद दिलाने आए थे।
क्या आप यीशु को प्रभु स्वीकारते हैं?
ओ हाँ, अवश्य।
स्वामी जी, मेरा भी एक प्रश्न है।
कहो।
आपने कहा हमें श्रद्धा से प्रभु की प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए।
हाँ, उनकी महिमा गान ही उनकी प्रार्थना है।
कृपया आप समझाएंगे हम ये कैसे करें?
प्रभु एक ही है और उस प्रभु तक पहुंचने का मार्ग भी एक ही है। हर धर्म हमें बस यही एक रास्ता बताता है।
ये सुनकर विश्वास बढ़ता है।
वैदिक ग्रंथों के अनुसार हमें इस युग में प्रभु के नाम का जाप करना चाहिए और केवल प्रभु के नाम के उच्चारण से ही हमें मुक्ति मिल सकती है। तब हम पवित्र हो जाते हैं और उनके पास जा सकते हैं।
आपका मतलब है कैथोलिक तरीके से माला लेकर जाप करना?
हाँ, कुछ वैसा ही। देखो, ये है मेरी माला।
आपने कहा प्रभु नाम का जाप करो, ये हम कैसे कर सकते हैं?
आसान है। प्रभु बहुनामी है। हर नाम उनके गुण और लीलाओं को बताता है। कृष्ण का अर्थ है सर्व आकर्षक, राम का अर्थ परम आनंद और हरे में उनकी आत्मिक शक्ति निहित है। इसलिए हम उसे भजते हैं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
स्वामी जी जरा इस तरफ। हाँ ठीक है, हाँ बस ऐसे ही रहिए। हाँ हाँ।
जा रही हूँ माँ।
लौटते समय फल लाना मत भूलना।
ठीक है।
शाम को मिलते हैं माँ।
स्कूल से सीधे घर आना। हाँ, और कॉफी? वो कौन है इस फोटो में?
ओ, ये एक भारतीय स्वामी इन दिनों बटलर में हैं।
एक भारतीय स्वामी बटलर में?
हाँ, ये बटलर का सौभाग्य मेरे शिष्य से जरूर सुनना चाहेंगे।
क्या वे अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं?
लेख के अनुसार धारा प्रवाह।
हेलो।
हेलो, मैं बात कर सकता हूँ भक्ति वो स्वामी प्लीज?
वो इस समय यहाँ नहीं है। दरअसल वो यहाँ नहीं रहते, वो YMCA में रुके हैं।
मैं प्रोफेसर एलन लॉर्सन।
हाँ, जब वापस आएंगे तो कह दूंगी, जल्दी आ जाएंगे। आप अपना नाम और फोन नंबर मुझे क्यों नहीं देते? वो आएंगे तो बता दूंगी। हाँ, प्रोफेसर लार्सन, स्लिपरी रॉक, स्टेट कॉलेज, विषय छात्रों को संबोधन। ठीक है, मैं सोचती हूँ पसंद आएगा। 257-3156। जी, मैं कहती हूँ। धन्यवाद। अच्छा।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे
मैंने
कृष्ण,
कहा बच्चे
हरे कृष्ण,
अजनबियों को घूरो
कृष्ण
मत।
कृष्ण
चलो।
हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण।
स्वामी
So, like this, Prabhupada meets Professor Larson, and he would go to that college for a lecture. So this was just, I was showing that how Prabhupada was so much adjusting with Sally. Not so much is being shown in that movie, but we can see more. And we can read. When we read, we can see more through our hearing. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anything anybody would like to add about Sally or Prabhupada?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी आम यू प्रपातर डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म शिक्षा पाने जेकोसी परिस्थिति जन वैष्णव आडजस्ट करा उचित। प्रपात जो श्रेष्ठ होते माने सेलिंग घरे गोपाल गौराल घरे आडजस्ट करते प्रथम स्टेप आम जीवन जिते कष्ट आसे भी जिते कौन प्रोब्लेम आम सब क्षेत्र में आडजस्ट करवा। आडजस्ट कले भगवान प्राप्त हो पार नचेत आम जी टॉलरेंस न रहा आम जदि सामान्य किसी बाधार जदि आम भांगी पड़ा ताले आम केबे भगवान को प्राप्त हो पारानी। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. प्रपात एमती एडजस्ट करथिलो बोली से माने माने प्रपात को ग्रहण कले आ फ्यूचर रे प्रपात एते सुंदर भाव रे समस्त को प्रीच मध्ये कर पाए। प्रपात एते अट्रैक्टिव थिले माने जहा से तो प्रपात मिसले प्रपात को पर्सन फिदा हो जाउची। हरे कृष्ण।
प्रभु जी प्रपात बहुत विनम्र भाव प्रदर्शन हो बहुत सुंदर विनम्र भाव से हमको आगे शिक्षा कथा सब विनम्री तार कह भावटा के सुंदर हस हस विनम्र सब कथ आडजस्ट हो जिन प्रति मुहूर्त शिक्षा कथा विनम्र हवा कथा कथार जमी गोटे मानने गोटे स्वीटनेस रहा कथा समस्त के रिउडनेस आसा कथा नहीं आम कथार।
सी भी बहुत कष्ट सहिष्णु एक्चुअली कार्गो रे जाइए एक्चुअली प्रचार करिया एडजस्ट करी पूरा आर जो इम्प्लीमेंट सिचुएशन सब एडजस्ट करियाटा बहुत एक्चुअली हां 70 वर्ष रे एमति जने करिवो हमें भी आश्चर्य लागछ एक्चुअली एते प्रचार करिवा एते तांकर मनोबल एते तार आध्यात्मिक शक्ति सेति नथले भगवान के थारे एति आध्यात्मिक शक्ति नथले जने एते तते केबे अग्रसर होई परनी सेटा एक्चुअली बहुत मनोबल दिए जदि तमरो कृष्ण प्रेम जो जागृत हला निश्चित तुम असाध्य के पंगु लंग हेते गिरिंग भलिया एटा एक्चुअली जोटा कहिछि सेटा सत्य कथा एक्चुअली प्रपातन के प्रजुज्य एते सुंदर एक्चुअली तांका धैर्य एक्चुअली माने पड़ियो। जय जगन्नाथ।
थैंक यू हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी जो प्रभुपाद जो खाइबा बनौथिले जो से टिफिन टा जो सेटा गोटे अलगा टाइप रो ना तो सेटा कोन से इंडिया रु नेथिले ना कोन
नहीं जाए
मत गोटे प्रेशर कुकर नहीं ता भीतर दीटा डब्बा थिला एबे भी मिलुची दीटा डब्बा गोटे का डाली गोटे का अन्न एकटा संग रे दियो
हमें तीन थाकिया सेटा था तीनटा थाक था।
हां एटा प्रेशर कुकर भीतर रही परिबो एटा भी मिलुची आजकल मध्ये गोटे संगे एकटा संगे अपन भात डाली तरकारी भी जा कर दे पारे सेटा को नेथिले प्रपात।
ठीक है साला जी थाओ तो समस्त को धन्यवाद जॉइन करथिबारु एवली स्लो प्रभात परे हम टिके टिके पढि चलिबा आपन मध्ये जदी टाइम होची से लीलामृत फुल जोटा अछि फुल वर्जन 7 वॉल्यूम्स सेटा हमें पढले और बहुत जिंस रिलीज कर परिबा आउ हरे कृष्ण क्षेत्र महाराज प्रभात जने शिष्य से कहउतले जे आजिकली जेहेतु भक्त माने बेसी समय यूट्यूब रे दउछंती सो यूट्यूब रे भी जदी हम सुनिया चाहिबा तो प्रभुपाद मेमोरीज बोली गोटे चैनल अछि प्रभुपाद मेमोरीज तो सही चैनल रे सब प्रभुपाद शिष्य मानकर प्रभुपाद सहित पास्ट टाइम्स पुरा अछि तो से गुडा हमें सुन परिबे चैनल। हरे कृष्ण
प्रभु जदि आपण एटा पाउछन हम बहुती शेयर करन हम तो जानि मुझे विषय कले बढ़िया आंदा आमे जे कृपा करतन
ମୁଁ ତ କାଲି ସେୟାର କରିଥିଲି ନା ଗିରିରାଜ ମହାରାଜଙ୍କର ପ୍ରପାତ ମେମୋରିଜ ସେଟା
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆଉ ଅଛି ଏମିତି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସମୟ ହବ ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗିବ
हाँ हाँ सेने गुठ थिला
ଠିକ ଅଛି
गिरिराज महाराज जे बॉम्बे रे प्रचार
हाँ,
नेइଥିଲେ त
ହୁଁ
हाँ हाँ
ओके मोर इच्छा गिरिराज महाराजଙ୍କର କିଛି ବୁକ୍स ଅଛି ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ଯେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ବୁକ୍ ହେଲା ମେନି ମୁନ୍ସ प्रॉपर इस्कॉन रो किछि माने एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी पर्सनालिटीज को ऊपर से ଗୋଟେ बुक लेक्चर मेनी मून्स तांको ऊपर आ ଗୋଟେ बुक लेक्चर थी जुहू स्टोरी वाटरिंग द सीड बहुत सुंदर सुंदर बही अछि तो समय हेले हम ताको पढ़िया ठीक अछि
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
हरे कृष्णा सब प्रभु
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु ये ऑडियोटा प्रभु अच्छी कि माने देखिए पे चाहूँ फुल
कोटा
एबे जो ऑडिटर चलतला जो
ओ वीडियो अभय चरण हां अभय चरण तो अच्छी पठेइतिली आउथरे पठेइ देब ठीक है
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
हरे कृष्ण हां
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
हरे कृष्ण
प्रभु जी 45 एपिसोड अछि तो अभय चरण रो 45 एपिसोड अछि आपण दी खाली YouTube रे मारतेबे अभय चरण से गोटे एपिसोड आपण को पाइ दिए
हां मु
डिटेल पूरा बहुत बढ़िया लगे आपण देखिबे बहुत बढ़िया लगे पूरा प्रभुपाद को ऊपर पूरा आपण को ऊपर माने ऑडियो वीडियो दीटा कहि दिबो ना बहुत सुंदर भाबे आपण जानि परिबे प्रभुपाद लीलामृत
हां ओके ठीक है चले हरे कृष्णा श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्तवृंद की जय
जय
धन्यवाद समस्त को चलो
प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम
दंडवत